This pilot had flown over deserts hundreds of times. But this was different. Below, in the middle of nowhere, stood a building abandoned, forgotten. No roads, no signs of life, just a ruin where no ruin should be. But that wasn't the strangest part, because what the pilot and his crew discovered became a huge news story. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Jack adjusted his headset, scanning the endless dunes below. His job was routine: aerial surveys, mapping, nothing exciting. Until Emma, his geologist, leaned forward, eyes locked on something. "Jack," she said, her voice sharp, "look at that." He followed her gaze and felt his stomach drop. A structure. In the middle of nowhere, back banked the plane for a better look. The building was real 2 stories, weathered, crumbling. But why was it there? More importantly, why were there fresh tracks leading in and out? Someone had been there recently. He felt a familiar tingle of curiosity. "This doesn't make sense," Ravi, their technician, muttered. "It shouldn't exist." Jack flew lower, his eyes scanning the tracks. They weren't random. Someone had driven there and left. But who? And why? The plane touched down on the soft sand, and the ruin loomed ahead. The moment Jack stepped out, something felt wrong. Emma took a step toward the ruin. Jack's gut told him to stop her. Instead, he exhaled. "All right, let's see what we've got." The tire tracks weren't old. The wind should have erased them, but they were sharp, fresh. Someone had driven here not long ago. The building was old but standing. Cracks ran through the faded concrete walls, and jagged glass framed the broken windows. A rusted metal door hung crooked on its hinges, but something stood out no dust on the handle. Jack reached the entrance, heart pounding. The doorway yawned like a black hole, swallowing the sunlight behind him. Inside, there was no movement, no sound, just silence. Emma pulled out a flashlight. Her voice hushed. "Feels like we're stepping into a grave," Jack swallowed. Maybe they were. Jack placed a hand on the cool metal door, feeling its weight shift slightly. It hadn't been locked in years, but it hadn't been forgotten either. Behind him, Ravi exhaled. Last chance to turn back. Jack glanced at him, then at Emma. No one moved. He stepped inside. The moment Jack entered, the air changed. It was cooler than it should be. Thick, with something stale, old, dust swirled around his boots. The walls were lined with faded maps and peeling papers, as if whoever had worked here had left in a hurry, or had been forced to. Jack shone his flashlight across the floor, eyes narrowing. The dust wasn't untouched. There were scattered footprints, leading in different directions. Some older, nearly erased, but a few fresh enough to still hold shape. His stomach clenched. "We're not the first ones in here." Emma's light flickered. Maybe not the last either. Jack's beam landed on a desk in the corner, papers strewn across it. A mug sat half-tipped, its contents long dried. A coat draped over a chair like someone had meant to come back. Jack took in the scene and drew a slow breath. Whoever was here last left in a hurry. Jack had expected dust, decay, and silence. But this place was different, too intact, too recent. Someone had left in a hurry, but they hadn't taken everything. A coat, a tipped-over mug, fresh footprints in the dust. It could be recent. Whoever had been here last, they had planned to return. Jack took a step forward, his boots leaving fresh imprints in the dust. The air was heavy, carrying the scent of something old and forgotten. Emma swept her flashlight across the room, revealing peeling maps, yellowed papers. "This wasn't just some outpost," she murmured. "It looks like a research facility." Jack picked up a faded document from the desk. The words had blurred with time, but one phrase stood out: "Groundwater anomaly detected." He frowned. They were studying something underground. Ravi pointed to a board covered in notes and red markings. Whatever it was, they were obsessed. A chair sat pulled out, a pen still resting beside an open notebook. The last entry was rushed, nearly unreadable. Jack squinted at the words on that page. "They told us to leave. Shut it down, but we know the truth." His pulse quickened. "Who told them to leave?" Emma whispered. Emma's flashlight landed on fresh footprints leading to a door. Jack followed them, heart racing. Suddenly, a deep rumble echoed. "Someone's coming!" A dust cloud rose over the dunes as a rusted SUV approached its speed. Jack pulled the others away from the window. "Get down." The SUV skidded to a stop just outside. A man stepped out rugged, face hidden under a wide-brimmed hat. He scanned the building deliberately. Jack whispered, "He's not here by accident." The man pulled a long, cloth-wrapped object from the car and stood still, watching the building. Then the man began walking toward the entrance. Jack's breath caught as the man stepped into the ruin, boots crunching sand. He paused, eyes scanning. Suddenly, he froze, locking eyes with Emma. "No," he muttered, "that's impossible." Emma's pulse spiked. "Do you know me?" The stranger stepped back, guarded. "Who are you?" Emma steadied herself. "Emma Whitmore." His face paled. Emma stared at him. There was something familiar in his face. "Who are you?" The man hesitated. "Daniel." Jack's chest tightened. "Daniel Whitmore." Emma's voice faltered. "That's my mother's maiden name." Daniel looked down. "Then you don't know." His voice was thick with regret. "You don't know who I am." Emma's throat closed. "You're related to my mom?" Daniel looked pained. "Your mother, Sarah." His voice cracked. "She's alive." Emma nodded. His shoulders sagged. "I thought they made sure I'd never see her again." Jack crossed his arms. "You disappeared decades ago. Why?" Daniel's jaw tightened. "I stayed." Emma frowned. "Stayed? For what?" He looked at them, eyes dark. "For the truth." Ravi scoffed. "You chose this place over your family?" Daniel's eyes burned. "You don't understand." Emma held his gaze. "Then help us understand." Daniel exhaled, rubbing a hand over his face. "They wanted us gone, all of us." Emma's pulse quickened. "Who?" Daniel glanced at the crumbling walls. "The people who built this place. When we found out the truth, they shut it all down. I stayed to make sure it wouldn't stay buried." Emma's mind reeled. "But why didn't you leave?" Daniel shook his head. "We tried. No one listened. The company made sure of that." His voice turned hollow. "They destroyed everything, the files, the research, even the people who asked too many questions." Daniel led them deeper into the ruin. "You need to know why I stayed." Emma followed, her chest tight. "You're my uncle," she whispered. "Sarah Whitmore. My sister," he confirmed, "and I was supposed to be dead." He gestured to a rusted cabinet, pulling open its bent doors to reveal dusty folders. "I was one of the first researchers here. We thought we were studying desert expansion, but that wasn't the truth." Daniel opened a folder, yellowed pages crinkling in his hands. "We were mapping groundwater, studying reservoirs. Then we noticed something water levels dropping too fast." "Drought?" Ravi asked. Daniel shook his head. "No. Contamination. Toxins, chemicals that don't belong underground." Emma's hands clenched. "Someone was poisoning it and draining it," Daniel said. "A corporation was dumping waste, contaminating what should have been fresh water." Jack scanned the document, his stomach twisting. "So they were dumping illegally?" Daniel nodded. "The land died, crops failed, towns vanished. When we exposed it, they shut it down, silenced everyone." Ravi's laptop beeped. "They're tracking our upload!" Jack cursed. "They're fast." Daniel grabbed his bag. "We leave, now." Emma frowned. "Where?" "Somewhere they won't find us." Jack slung his camera over his shoulder. "We're not running, we're finishing this." Headlines exploded. "Illegal dumping exposed. Environmental crime caught on film." Emma clenched her fists. "They can't hide now." Ravi grinned. "People are listening." Daniel stayed focused. "They'll do more than panic." Jack nodded. "Then we make sure they have nowhere left to hide." The corporation issued a weak denial. Jack scoffed. "Classic." Emma refreshed the feed. "Activists want investigations." Ravi nodded. "And people are paying attention." Daniel cracked his knuckles. "Good, because we're not done yet." Jack said it clearly. "Now we take it further." Jack hit record, staring into the lens. "They tried to erase the truth, but we found it, and now so will everyone else." Emma nodded. "We keep pushing." Daniel's eyes darkened. "Until they have no choice but to face what they did." Jack pressed upload. "Let's finish this once and for all." Jack refreshed. The page views skyrocketed. News outlets picked up their footage. "It's working," Emma said. Ravi smirked. A government statement flashed. "An independent investigation is underway." Emma exhaled. "They're feeling the heat." Jack leaned back. "It's not enough. We need action." Leaked emails showed executives scrambling for damage control. "They're blaming past management," Ravi scoffed. "Typical," Jack said. "We need more than excuses." Daniel was firm. "We need accountability." Class action lawsuits grew. Whistleblowers stepped forward. "They want our evidence," Emma said. Daniel folded his arms. Now they have no choice. Satellite images confirmed cleanup at the dumping site. "They're removing the barrels," Emma said. Jack narrowed his eyes. "Too little, too late," Daniel sighed. "At least it's happening," Ravi added. "Only because they got caught," Jack nodded. "Let's make sure they finish the job." Protests erupted in major cities. Executives resigned. "They want names," Emma said, "and some might face jail time," Ravi added. Daniel exhaled. 40 years too late, but justice is justice." Jack nodded. "We're not done yet." Daniel sat for a news interview. "For years they called us liars, but the truth always finds a way." Emma squeezed his hand. Jack watched from behind the camera, knowing they had finally won. Environmental agencies announced new regulations. "It's more than they ever wanted to give," Emma said. Daniel nodded. "Change takes time," Jack added, "but we made them listen." Jack stared at the desert one last time. "What's next?" Ravi asked. Emma smiled. "We keep telling the stories that matter." Daniel looked at the ruins. "And make sure no one forgets this one." Jack hit record. "Let's get to work." Months later, they stood on a ridge overlooking the cleanup site. Excavation teams removed the last rusted barrels. "It looks different," Emma murmured. Daniel nodded. "Because it is." The land was healing. Jack raised his camera. "This time, they won't erase it." Patches of green dotted the earth. Emma touched damp soil. "It's holding water again," Daniel exhaled. "For the first time in decades." Jack snapped a photo. "Proof that change is possible." Ravi grinned. "The truth really does make a difference." Daniel hesitated as they packed. "I never thought I'd leave this place." Emma touched his arm. "You don't have to hide anymore." He nodded slowly. "You think Sarah will want to see me?" Emma smiled. "She never stopped hoping you were alive." Daniel's eyes welled up. "Then it's time." Jack drove as the ruin disappeared behind them. Emma watched Daniel in the rearview mirror. "Nervous?" he chuckled. "A little." Jack smirked. "You faced down a cover-up. You can handle a reunion." Daniel smiled. "We'll see." The car stopped in a quiet neighborhood. Emma's mother stood on the porch, frozen. Daniel stepped out. "Sarah," he said, voice thick. She covered her mouth, tears spilling. "Danny?" She ran to him, embracing him tightly. "I thought I lost you." Inside, old photos lined the walls. Daniel touched them gently. "I miss so much." Sarah held his hand. "You're here now. That's what matters." Emma wiped a tear. Jack watched, knowing this was the real victory. "It's never too late," Daniel whispered. Weeks later, Jack reviewed the last footage. The documentary was complete. He glanced at Emma. "We did it." Ravi grinned. "And we're just getting started." Jack hit upload. "One last shot, then we move on to the next." The screen flickered to life desert footage, recovered land, and the people who changed everything. Emma exhaled. No more secrets. Daniel looked to the horizon, and no more running. The truth had won, and this time it would stay.